is the first of many events that we plan to present to the Haitian community, to bring politicians, to bring awareness to the community.
So the reason we're here today is because Haitian American United for Change, we want to make a difference in our community. So we couldn't teach and be aware of what's going on around us, where we live. We migrated to this country, but also we have to get involved with our surroundings.
There are some key points that's been hit upon here today. Educated voters, going out there and vote, and after the process of voting, keeping in contact, writing letters to the elected officials, whether you voted for them or not. I have to say, as a personal story I had is, when I was in the service, I wasn't here, I was overseas. My parents were talking to me about certain things that they were concerned about. I wrote letters to the senators of our community, and guess what? They wrote me back, telling me that, okay, we've taken a note and we're going to take into consideration what you said. That means you have the voice to vote, but you also have that voice to continue that communication with them, to let them know, I don't think you're doing a good job. I think you're doing a good job. This is what I want to see done. That is your voice, and that's what we want to share with you here today. I would like to introduce Kimberly Wilder.
Hi, my name is Kimberly Wilder, and I am from the Green Party, and I'm here with Evergreen. So Evergreen Chou is another Green Party member from Queens. And because of how districts are made, Evergreen is part of our political community, and some of his districts actually reach into Nassau County and places in Long Island. So let's see. I'm so happy that we were invited to this nonpartisan event. As the Green Party, we like to remind people that a lot of times people say nonpartisan when the Democrats and Republicans make agreements together, but we call that bipartisan. So we say multi-partisan is when all voices are brought to the table, and that means the smaller parties like working families and independents, and then the smaller independent political bodies like ourselves and the libertarians. So thank you again for inviting us and letting us give this other perspective. Let's see. I wanted to say a little bit about myself. I didn't know exactly where to come from. Some of the people that spoke were elected officials and had very important organizations to belong to. I just consider myself a citizen activist. My husband and I do so much Green Party work. We really feel like we're in the struggle. The fact that there's a war going on upsets us a great deal, and we feel like it's our mission in life. So that many people think that we're the Green Party or we're this or that, but ultimately, we do all this as our labor of love, and we wonder why we do it so much, but it's important, and life is not easy, it's a struggle, so that's what we're committed to. Why you might want to belong to the Green Party, or even to other parties, other smaller parties, is because we have a strong set of values, and partly because we're a small community, partly because we are different. With the Green Party, we don't accept corporate contributions, so we're very separate from the corporations that often run the country or influence politics. So the Green Party has a distinct set of values. They're called the 4 Pillars, and that's part of an international movement. The Greens is a very international movement. And then the 10 key values enumerates them a little bit more. So I'm supposed to have these memorized, and I think I have to because I didn't bring a piece of paper. The 4 key values are nonviolence and peace, in the way and meaning of Gandhi, a sincere commitment to nonviolence. Grassroots democracy, which is why we love this event. We love to see citizens empowering themselves, understanding the importance of the vote and the importance of electoral politics, and the importance of making sure that it's always fair. So grassroots democracy. Of course, a lot of people think of us as people that are committed to ecological wisdom. So that's the other one. And then the final one is social and economic justice. And I think that's a mouthful. So, let's see. I actually heard some confusion outside here. It's so funny that the people who have the most power in electoral politics, that would be the Democrats and Republicans, they're always going to want to perpetuate their system and make things go forward. And really, they're there at the controls all the time. So where people often get information that's called nonpartisan is the Board of Elections. And a lot of people honestly view the Board of Elections as fair, unbiased information, but you have to understand that all it is half Democrat and half Republican. So often it does have a point of view, even though they believe that if the Democrats and Republicans feel like they're each other's opposite, and if my opposite is in the room, then I must be doing it right. But the Greens would think differently. And so one piece of information that we've actually caught the Suffolk County BOE saying wrong a lot is that on the voter registration form, you can register to vote in the Green Party. And we've actually had people from the Suffolk County Board of Elections tell people it the wrong way or tell it with a nuance so that it was confusing. But the Greens in the room, and I can't remember if Evergreen was specifically on this lawsuit with us, we're trying to overcome the hurdle that you have to be a party in New York, which is 50,000 votes for governor. And with all the work that we did, with all the signatures we collected, with all the thousands of people that wanted to belong to the Green Party, we couldn't meet that very hard hurdle. We just didn't have the resources and the money to get the 50,000 votes. But we knew that we deserved the right to assemble, and we knew that we were a party and our voice mattered. So we filed a lawsuit and we won. And what the judge did very specifically in New York a few years ago is that he made it a two-tiered thing so that he could assure us the right to assemble and the right to have a party. And that is that anyone who collects 15,000 signatures, or the definition of the lawsuit is anyone who gets a governor candidate on the ballot, that they have a right to have enrollees, that you can register in their party, that you can belong to them. That means that it's easier for you to connect with them and run for office on their line. And that when the Greens are looking to talk to their people, you'll be on the Board of Elections as on the mailing list. So I just wanted to inform you as part of education that these parties are listed on your voter registration forms, the ones that are outside for you that the nonpartisan groups brought. Democrat, Republican, Independents, Working Families, and Conservative. And you can certainly sign up for all of those. But because the Board of Elections is bipartisan, when the judge asked them to implement this decision and they had some discretion, they just put other. And so a voter has to know their right to enroll in the other parties. So I'm empowering you by telling you what other means. And you can put anything in other. You can put pickles or peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. And that's beautiful because I think expression in voting is wonderful. I always tell people to write in. But you also have the very powerful right to write in one of those parties that because we ran a governor candidate, because we have enrollees, because we do the political work on the ground all the time, you can also belong to the Green Party, the Libertarian Party, the Rent is Too High Party, and the Socialist Workers Party. So those are all parties that you can look up. Everyone who ran a governor candidate last time, you can belong to their party and register, and then you're just as much an enrollee of a party as if you enrolled into the usual parties that people think of. So I also wanted to say that I heard a little bit of praise for the debates, and I certainly think it's great when we can get candidates together and make them talk about the issues and make them say what they're going to do. But unfortunately, if the way you got your voter information was from the televised debates, you would actually be missing out on a lot, because those debates are run by the Commission on Presidential Debates, which is only an incorporated entity controlled by the Democrats and Republicans. And those debates do not include independent candidates, third-party candidates. Some people might know the grand history of the League of Women Voters. They used to run the debates. They used to be debates that were from a pure cause of nonpartisanship, from people that do the work for democracy. And when, at a certain point, the Democrats and Republicans wanted so much control and made so many conditions, and demanded other people not be included and demanded certain questions not be asked, so that the League of Women Voters, the National League, declined to participate in the charade. So this debate is okay. Please study it. I'm sure you'll learn something about some of the candidates. But I would say, because the struggle is so hard to keep in the mainstream, I wouldn't say go to the televised debates or the newspaper. I would say go to YouTube. Because if you go to YouTube or the alternative press or WBAI 99.5 FM radio, the little things that aren't connected to corporations, that are just a little bit off the beaten track. That's where people who are truly engaged in the struggle and people with honest, sincere, demands coming from people in the grassroots, that's where you can really find those people. So, take the information from the mainstream for what it's worth, but don't lose sight of the fact that there's power in the demands that you can make when you get together with people with the high vision and the high idealism. I had something about why would you want to vote in a third party or the Green Party? What is the use? Some of it is to speak your beautiful idealistic vision and have your issues and be able to say them. Some of them is to make the model of democracy and how a structure works by being in a party that makes it work. But for people that I know come to us that are pragmatists and they're like, well, your candidate's not going to win, so why should we vote for your candidate? I just wanted to give one of the pragmatic examples, and that is that electoral politics is the ultimate power. If you get elected, then electoral politics is the ultimate demand. It's the ultimate threat to the power system. Power concedes nothing without a demand. So I found that with the Green Party politics, we have such power with the little bit of honest work we do. So, for example, whenever there's a Green Party candidate in the race, when you get invited to the local debates, even if the Green Party candidate's not there, suddenly the two candidates are talking about the environment, because that's how they perceive us. Some of them are smart enough to know we're also about social justice and peace. But so one of our friends ran on the Green Party line, and in the race that he was in, the Republican started to use a leaf on his lawn signs. And the Republicans started to bring up the environmental issues at every event. And the Republican actually ended up being on the environmental committee of the state legislature. So this is just one little example of how you can use the power of electoral politics by being an enrollee or a candidate of a small party to really up the ante. But I wanted to go back to the part about registering to vote, because I'm so proud of this group that they put this together. And I've done kind of the routine. I've been a candidate for local office and run candidates, all in this somewhat under the radar way of being with the Green Party and not always getting enough attention. But I've spoken at NOW meetings, National Organization of Women's meetings, and this is about the attendance you can expect from a community. And I've spoken at NAACP meetings, and this is about the attendance. Politics is not easy. It's hard, it can be scary. Sometimes as soon as you get activated, someone tries to shift you to another project. So this is wonderful and a great amount of people to be inspired, and I'm very happy to hear that the people here feel like they're going to pass on the word and empower people. And it is really important to vote, and I know in my heart of hearts that you don't have to pick a certain party, that if everybody who's here at the level that I'm sure that we all live at, being in a working class environment or being people that, have to care and belong in this community, I know that if we all voted, that the outcome would be very good, regardless of whether we all pick the same thing or regardless of whether, it doesn't have to be one way or one certain party. I know that we would have such a loud voice that people would hear us if we all voted and demanded the strongest things that we really want for ourselves in terms of social justice and peace and caring about our environment. And that's it for me. And I just wanted to say that I'm very excited that Evergreen Chou has come to speak with us. He's my colleague from the Green Party. He's run for office a few times himself. And the Green Party is both electoral and movement. We really feel like we're tied in with the movement, and we started in being with the peace movement, the anti-nuclear movement. And so I respect Evergreen so much because he was one of the leaders in New York of the activist Greens that work on really demonstration issues and getting people mobilized, and he's used the power of the ballot in electoral politics. So I always think of him as a very big hero of mine, and this is Evergreen Chou.
Good afternoon, sisters and brothers. Before we begin, I'd like to send a healing thought out to the people of Haiti who are suffering, people, the Cuba who are suffering, people who are in Texas now who are facing these natural calamities, which some say are not natural. It's the direct results of human actions and global warming. But Bush would contest that he was here. Before I came here, when they told me it was Haitian, you know, they always say, well, do a crowd please or break the ice a little bit. They told me a Haitian phrase, I'm going to try it. Sagtikos, am I close? All right. And to return, I would like to teach you something in Chinese. It's very simple. Ni hao ma, which is, how are you? That's how we would greet each other. On this issue of voting, as you know, there was briefly mentioned, quarter of people vote, some people don't want to register. Folks that do register, on the day of voting, they don't vote. They would mention many reasons. I would like to perhaps add a fourth reason. It's just many people are so disenfranchised and apathetic towards the candidates that we have. And in a sense, it's like, maybe kind of like what Kimberly was saying, you know, we have a presidential election. Believe it or not, there are other presidential candidates. For those of you who are registered to vote on November 4th, when you walk in the voting booth, you look on the presidential candidates, you will see Barack, you will see McCain, but there's plenty of other names you're going to see. Now I won't be shocked, because I understand the third party process. I'm here engaging the third party process. For many of you, you will walk in there, you'll be stunned. Let's see, Ralph Nader's name is going to be on, Mr. Ball, I forget his first name, my party's candidate, Cynthia McKinney, the Socialists as a candidate, sometimes the Communist Party run a candidate. So their names are there. They've made the requirement to be on this political democratic process. And yet, when you watch CNN, Fox TV, New York One, you are only going to see two candidates. So it's really about democracy, it's really about choice, it's really about exciting the people to get them out to vote. Well, I have a perfect solution. You know, in France, when they have elections, it's public finance, where the public TV station will hold a debate. Any candidate that makes the mark being a candidate in the election will get a seat on the debate, so that all the citizens of that country can get to see, well, what does Cynthia McKinney have to say? Well, why are these Greens so excited about her? You know, a six-term former Georgia Congresswoman. What is it that's made her a former Democrat, leave the Democrat, come to the Green? Why, and why? Well, you will never know if you stay tuned to CNN and, you know, the regular channels. But however, this is where we find ourselves. And another thing I wanted to talk about is also what Kimberly spoke about, that, you know, as a voter registration, many times when I do voter registration, another question that people get to is, well, which party do I check? So that is kind of confusing about the democratic process. So in a sense, you have to do research. So in my community, it's very funny. They have the word, you know, independent party or independent, and it just, they translate it in Chinese, and it just means, you know, not affiliated almost, like I'm independent. So they all check that box, and I have to tell them, well, you sure you want to check this box, because that's really the name of a party. Then they say, well, we don't want to be affiliated with any party. They want to check others. Well, that's okay too, but as you know, we in New York, a democratic town, oftentimes you have September 9th, but we just went through, certain districts had primaries, and because of that primary, if you didn't check whether it was Democrat or Republican, then you would not be in the primary. So that's part of the education we do when we do voter registration. In addition to, once again, to reiterate that point with, why couldn't they just list the Green Party, the other third party candidates, so to give people real choice, that should they want to check Green, they could check Green. The next kind of line I think I want to go into, okay, you're excited, you register to vote, you might have picked a party, you might not have picked a party, you're thinking about Green, you're not thinking about Green. Then me as a former candidate, I took the next step. You know, as an activist, you're marching, you're demonstrating, you're chanting against whether it be City Hall, White House, and then at some moment you make that realization is, well, I could run for office also. So that's also part of the beauty of, I guess, democracy in this political process. It begins with a thought, the candidate, you get a treasurer, my nephew is my treasurer, and that's really the way you begin, those two positions, and my campaign manager is in the audience, they start, and she's my wife. So right away, you know, I'm off to politics. But from the third party's point of view, there are roadblocks. For example, did you know that when it comes to like the petition process, so in order to run for office, you have to have, you know, a party and a position, and then you have this piece of legal paper that's what they call a petition. And you basically meet people in your district and see if they get them to sign your petition. So for the third party candidates, we cannot go till the Democratic Republic finishes. So, and yet, meaning that anybody who signed for their petition now cannot sign for my petition. So again, going back to what can make the system fairer, what can make people come out and vote more, those are just things that we in the third party, we could scream, we could shout, we could chant these things, so we want to see change. We really want to see a participatory democracy. That is what we really would love to see. So that, on the days of the election, that the lines are even longer. So then we start thinking about, well, what are ways we can do to make the lines shorter? Some of the people that spoke about possible solutions. What about making it a holiday? What about moving it from Tuesday? What about having same-day registration? And then, we in the third party, you might see us as conspiracists, but the 2000 election, there were questions there. The 2004 election, there was questions there. Again, this goes back to partly just that doubt, the resentment, the thinking that maybe my vote doesn't really count because of those things that happen. So we're thinking, let's have real election reform. I spoke earlier about, open debates, public financing of elections, where right now you say, well, I run for office, they'll say, I don't see you on TV, I don't see you in the newspaper, you don't have a radio ad, you're not even running. All I see is you and a couple of 10 or 15 of your friends walking around trying to have people sign your petition. I said, well, that's exactly it, the cost for a TV ad, for a full page ad right now. So you have an election where, face it, we have basically millionaires running for Senate, running for Congress, running for president. And so people's democracy, a government of the people, for the people, by the people, what we went through, what we struggled, I don't think this is what our forefathers struggled so that we could have a rich man's democracy. So in essence, I encourage you to register to vote, look at the third party candidates, think about running for office, and ours for a greener world. It doesn't have to be the Green Party, it could be any party. If McCain and Barack says, U.S. out of Iraq, let's think about a peaceful way, I'd vote for one of them. If they spoke about, well, what are ways besides nuclear, besides drilling for oil offshore, I would vote for them. It's the concept of the Greens that I'm into, and not that, or which person can say it. I want to thank you all for your time, and November 4th.
I'd like to say thank you very much. There are some very strong words used there. Empowerment, making change, power being in our hands, which is very, very true. And today we've been highly empowered by knowledge, and the knowledge that we can make a change and pass it on to our community and to our children.
I spoke with Ketley, and Ketley's organization is a great organization, and she's looking to unite all the different Haitian groups together. And we want to offer our support to her. We want to collect the youth together and then somehow connect with her organization and all the other organizations that she's looking to team up with, so that we can have that their new ideas, their energy, and their education. They're Americanized, so they have a lot of views. They're technologically inclined in a lot of different things. So we want new blood, and the youth has the power and the energy and the ideas. So we're here as Rotarians to tell this organization and the community that we are here in Central Islip. We have our president, Henry Bradley, who is here today. He's taking the time out so he can also reach out and talk to you guys about what is happening in Haiti. There are certain programs that are happening there, empower people, and try to get more kids involved in youth exchange programs. We encourage that because we want them to be empowered, to see the culture, and for them to get their feet wet and to be more active in the community, because they need also, they need to know what's out there and how can they channel their energies. A lot of them would like to do certain things. They have leadership qualities, and the idea is they're not quite sure where to go, who to talk to, how to get involved, and find out about the needs of the community. So the idea is to reach out to the different local organizations and basically tell them, this is where we are, this is what we're doing for the community, and we need to collect all the youth so that we can all become one, united, strong, and we can stand and make that change and have that voice to reach out to our elected officials and to speak to them and say, this is what our needs are. We need advocacy. We just came from Haiti. Our kids are suffering in the schools. We need representation. We need to push ESL. We need to promote that more. And we need to have people in the schools or in a community center where when our kids are being challenged, because I have my church here in Brentwood. It's a Haitian church. And the thing is, I taught the children about Bible studies and so forth, and they would share with me things that happen within their lives in school and how they're affected and how they have no representation and they're suffering, and they're being treated unfairly by the teachers, by the American kids and so forth, so they feel left back and they have no representation, and I feel there is a need there, and with this organization, Haitian Americans United for Change, I feel they're doing the right thing because they're reaching out to the different organizations, different Haitian organizations, not only limited to Haitian organizations, but the thing is we need to reach out to the leaders in these organizations, and the leaders will now disperse the information to the members, and we can reach more people, we can be more effective, we can unite and do fundraisers and do so many different things to make change, because Haiti is waiting for people from overseas to get together and help them. They're suffering. You know, they need so much help, and they're looking to us, and we're the new generation, and we need to come together here as a force and go out there and make that change, visit Haiti, get people into, get the elected officials to support what we're doing, all our needs here in America as well as the needs over there in Haiti. So the idea is let's unite, let's support one another, let's get the youth together and become a force, because they have all this energy and they have different views and they're educated here. Our focus, my passion is to try to reach out to the Rotaract, which would be the age group 18 to 30, because they're already voters, they're already out there in the world, they know what's going on, they know what their needs are, and there's a lot of them who are involved in different leadership groups within the school, and they would like to take it to the next level. They've come to me, I've visited different colleges, Selden Campus, Suffolk Community College in Selden, and I have a whole group of youth. They're bursting with energy, they just don't know how to go about putting it all together. So the idea is, HAUC is a great channel, and I'm going to bring them in so we can work together closely. So I just want to give you a heads up on what's happening, on my passion for the youth, and how we're going to be doing a lot of great things together here. Now, I would like to introduce Henry Bradley, the president of the Islander Central Islip Rotary Club. Henry Bradley, thank you. Thank you all.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Henry Bradley, as was said, and we all deal with change. Sometimes change can be physical. Okay, I can see a little bit better now, but I do need glasses to read, so I'm going to have to change my glasses. Quite often you say to yourself, how does an organization or a community organization affect change? What does it have to really do with voter registration? Okay, part of being involved in your community, part of being involved in what goes on in the world starts sometimes at a community level. I've been everything that you could say as far as a PTA goes. I started as a class mom, because at that time there was no class dads, okay, and eventually changed that to a class rep. It is all about change, but somebody has to do something for that change to happen. And quite often it's about education, quite often it's about knowing what's out there and the sources to tap into. And that's where the community organizations come in as well. We back any organization that believes in voter registration. We back any organization that believes in change. And as the gentleman had said, there are a lot of parties that are not put in front of us, and we need to investigate things.